Dire team ban. 10 seconds remaining.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Netolic Raid Call Pro League East Division Winners Bracket Final between AFD, April Fool's Day, who I guess now are semi-permanently calling themselves Despicable Me, too weird of a team name as it is, but we'll go ahead and switch to calling them DM2, and MUFC. Two teams that maybe aren't the most well-known among the Asian scene, but they were both giant slayers in earlier stages of this tournament. MUFC taking down Orange 2-0 in the previous winners bracket round, and AFD dethroning VG by taking them out 2-1 in an absolutely fantastic series that I do recommend checking out the VODs of when you get a chance. This is, of course, your official English stream, Netolic TV, Netolic TV. My name is Vikraman, my co-caster El Presidente. I'll introduce in just a second, and of course I want to remind you that our official sponsor for this tournament is RaidCall, www.raidcall.com. You can check out RaidCall channel 2013, 2013, like the year, and that'll sort of, you can check that out to discuss the games, be eligible for prizes, and all that good stuff. Here's my co-caster now, El Presidente. How you doing?
I'm doing quite well. You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but I'm also getting an echo of myself from your end, so are you sure you don't have, like, speakers plugged in or whatever?
No, I just had my my sound too loud for a bit.
Alright.
Should be better now.
Yeah, it sounds better now. So, let's talk about this draft.
Pretty standard. Actually, really funny. It might have been overlooked, but Skywrath Mage managed to get himself into tournament mode already, so...
It's probably an accident. I don't think that's supposed to happen.
Honestly, I really hope that we see a surprise Skywrath Mage pick, but that's not going to happen today, not with Nyx Assassin on the field.
I hope we don't, because A, yeah, Nyx Assassin, pretty good against Skywrath Mage. B, I don't want to have to argue about whether or not he's eligible for tournament play, because we already had a 45-minute delay, so I don't want anything else that could possibly cause these games to be any more protracted than they're already going to be.
Fair enough, but I do like Skywrath Mage. I think he's a pretty powerful solo mid like OD, but good laner, bad against BKBs.
I mean, Dota 1, I believe he's used as a solo mid in some professional level games, in the Dota 1 professional scene that still exists for Southeast Asia and what have you. But at any rate, not this game. We're not going to see him. If we see him, there might be some drama. Hopefully there won't be too much drama. And we do see the draft already. Nyx Assassin, Rubik, and Weaver drafted up for DM2. Now, do you think that they're going to use this Weaver as a number 1 in a tri-lane with Nyx and Rubik, or is this more likely to be a solo lane?
It's hard to say with this given lineup, because right now there's a very, very flexible team coming out of DM. With Nyx Assassin being able to play the mid or the support role, Rubik sort of the same way. Haven't seen him played mid in ages, though. And Weaver being a strong offlaner as well as a good safe laner. It's hard to say whether or not this is what way this is going to go. Mm-hmm. So MUFC really have to plan for every contingency. Luckily, they do have a pretty powerful contingency option in the Keeper of the Light. And with the Darkseer, they do kind of give away their lanes, though. They have the Magnus for the solo mid. They have the Darkseer for the offlane. Keeper of the Light is going to be their support hero. Phantom Lancer will be banned.
There was never any doubt, really, that Keeper of the Light was going to support, of course. But
yeah,
definitely with the Darkseer, we have a pretty good idea of what MUFC's game plan is as far as the lanes. But that's not like Darkseer isn't a very strong hero, and they already know what DM2 are picking up for their carry, so, well, at least they know that the Weaver is going to be a substantial component of it. And with that Gyrocopter ban, you really don't worry about the Darkseer being useful at all. I did see an interesting statistic that Darkseer's professional win rate had actually been suffering, because when you pick him against Gyrocopter, suddenly his wall is just substantially less effective, since a gyro illusion is just not really that pertinent, since of course it doesn't flak cannon. So
flat cannon, and Gyrocopter's like 50% to 70% like straight damage items rather than stats.
Right, exactly, that too. So the Gyrocopter illusions, because they don't have good stats and because they don't AoE, just aren't tremendously useful. So a big part of what makes Darkseer so good against most compositions is actually not valid against compositions that use Gyrocopter as the number one. But in this case, they know that it'll be useful against the Weaver, and Gyrocopter actually already taken out by DM2, interestingly enough. And I like this Visage ban as well. Visage sort of creeping into this metagame, and MUFC used him to absolutely fantastic effect against Orange in last winner's bracket game. Clearly, April Fool's Day or DM2 have been studying up on that, and that's why we see that ban there for Ling's Visage. I do think we'll probably see Ling on this Keeper of the Light. That's what they were just playing him as in their GMPGL series against Orange.
Straight up, that's a nice respect ban. I'm honestly surprised that PL has gotten this far through. It might be because AFD feel confident that if PL gets through, they'll just pick him up as their carry, and they'll offlane the Weaver.
I think they might be willing to just... I don't know. Now with Tinker gone and Gyrocopter... Okay, there's the ban. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. I think it's a perfectly reasonable ban. There's still, however, a lot of tier 1 sort of hard carry options that are coming through. So that's something we'll have to watch out for. We did see the standard, the Lone Druid ban, Lifestealer ban, and a Jug ban. So all these sort of mid-game carries that rule the roost right now. But what's still in the field, and actually another, so quite a few respect bans here for the Queen of Pain for ChibiX33. He played this Quap extremely well in their last several rounds, winning, doing very, very well against VG with it. Previous rounds, his Queen of Pain was very dominant. But there's still some high consequence mids left in the pool for ChibiX to pile it up. You could go on the Puck. Even something like Storm Spirit is a possibility. I think Puck a little bit more likely and actually a little better against that Magnus.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Puck is fantastic against Magnus just because Dream Coil does kind of ruin Magnus's Wombo combo potential, as well as the AoE silence is pretty nasty to deal with. Typically, Magnus would be landing against a Puck, and that's another lane where Puck has the massive advantage just because a Puck can just phase shift out of Shockwaves without any problem.
Right.
And later on, when Magnus are trying to do some solo kills on Puck, with some solid timing, you can just avoid the RP. And
it's tricky, but yeah.
It's tricky because you got an instant, and you have to really bank on it. But Chaos Knight.
Casual Chaos Knight is something we've seen DM2 do. They do have more carry potential on the Weaver. It's not just the CK. Most likely this looks like a tri-lane with Nyx Assassin, Rubik, Chaos Knight, which packs an incredible stun punch. I actually like the Sven response from MUFC just to sort of try to edge out the balance of the stuns some, or at least catch up on it, because between CK, Rubik, and Nyx, you've got 3 stuns and 4 once Nyx adds the Spiked Carapace. I mean, that's an incredible amount of disable that comes out from this tri-lane. And then Weaver in the solo, they could actually, this frees them up in my opinion, to go Weaver solo safe, Nyx, Rubik, Chaos Knight in the aggressive, and that could be very dangerous. We saw them use it to pretty good effect against VG with Ken on the Chaos Knight, and who was it on the Weaver? I don't remember.
Anyways, but Weaver's, sorry, not Weaver, Wisp is still in the pool, so that's another option. Then they would mid the Nyx, so there are lots of options, I guess. I don't know.
That's true. We actually saw them try that against VG. It went very poorly, but they could reprise it here. I don't hate it against MUFC's lineup. Yep. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yep.
I was going to say, I think it actually makes sense against this lineup. They could actually find kills this way, whereas when they did it against VG, VG had an excellent sort of lineup to respond to it. Good push, good counter gank potential, but MUFC, their push is not great, and I'm just not sure what they would have to respond to this with. Nature's Prophet is available, but the laning would be really awkward.
Yeah, the laning would be awkward. It would probably be like a jungling Nature's Prophet, offlane Darkseer, midding Magnus, and you have a dual lane.
Yeah.
5 seconds.
The only problem is I don't know how I feel about Sven hard carry anymore.
Disruptor is an option. We never see him, but he's actually quite good against IO combo lineups.
Yeah, absolutely. Disruptor is always a good option. I think he was played yesterday.
Really? By
Can't
whom?
remember what tournament.
EMS?
It might have been EMS.
I missed most of the EMS games, so I wouldn't have seen that. But I do think it's a possible response here. DM2 using that. This is quite similar to the lineup that they used against VG in Game 1 of their last series. So clearly they're not dissuaded by how poorly that went. And I do want to say, again, I do think that this is a stronger response to MUFC than it was to VG when they took it. And you can see MUFC feels that they have been thrown a little for a loop with this pick. They actually am not sure what to respond to this, and it's going to have to most likely be a support because otherwise the tri-lane won't go well, and it has to be a support that can somehow manage this CKIO Rubik. Now there are different ways of ooh, no, I'm totally
support
wrong.
Sven.
Shadow Fiend.
So we are seeing a support Sven Keeper combo, which is nice because Sven's AoE stun is so expensive. 140 mana? Yeah, 140 mana. And that's like all of Sven's mana pool at level 1.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I think this is promising from MUFC. The only question is, how will the Tri vs. Tri go? This is a really tough situation for them here will be making sure that Ari on this Shadow Fiend will be able to do sort of okay. And Sven Keeper the Light is a pretty good complement to a Tri lane, but I'm just not sure. I think CK, Rubik, IO could pose a threat here.
Yeah, I'm actually really concerned about Shadow Fiend because he's not exactly the most escapable person. And yeah, that would be an issue. That said, also Shadow Fiend's a very snowbally oriented hero, so the earlier you shut him down, the less he's going to do. And it's actually really hard for Shadow Fiend with his base like 38 damage to last hit against Chaos Knight's base 64.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
right.
It's pretty ridiculous actually.
So let's go ahead and introduce the teams. We do have ChibiX33 going up on the mid Nyx Assassin. Raveplu will be on that solo lane Weaver. We're still to see whether it actually ends up being a solo hard or a solo safe. And then we have Lodraki / Shaolin Kid on the Rubik. He's got a little joke name there talking about that Xiaowei dating show. And then Ken on the Chaos Knight and KS on the IO.
On at Winter's team, MUFC, we have, yes, on Winter. The Winter is coming, but TFG will be playing that offlane Darkseer in the solo mid position. We were seeing FZ. Wait, no, sorry, YY. Yeah, YY. Winter will be playing the support Sven, which is much more popular than hard carry Sven. I believe Princess Ari is a sub, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Princess Ari is subbing in for, I guess, Hontrash on the Shadow Fiend, and then Ling will be playing support Keeper of the Light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure if Princess Ari... I don't think it's Hontrash, because I looked it up and it wasn't him.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Sharky either, which would be their 6th man, so I suspect that is actually just a stand-in. So the two lanes I want to look forward to are, I want to see what comes of this Nyx Magnus middle lane, because of course, mana burn from the Nyx Assassin, not tremendously useful against Magnus, but not bad either. And then Magnus, of course, not a hero that we typically see winning mids. And then I really thought that it was going to be a 3v3 lane, but I think MUFC are actually going to be... I don't know, if I were MUFC, I'd feel a little bit grateful that it's actually a 3v1, because Shadow Fiend... You can pressure him very, very hard early, and in the absence of that pressure, the Shadow Fiend's going to feel much, much more comfortable finding the farm early on, getting levels, and just feeling fairly safe, unlike if there was that 3 vs 3 lane where there's the potential for just a total bloodbath early on.
Especially when you consider that he's already almost maxed out on his level 1 Necromaster,
right, exactly.
So it's already been a good lane for him. It doesn't even matter.
Oh, Raveplu, he will actually get stunned out, and here comes a lot of damage, but the raise misses from Shadow Fiend. So Sentry Ward helping Winter to land that Stormhammer, but just not that follow-on damage to actually kill off Raveplu.
He does land with the Necromaster. It's just level 1 Necromaster hits for 75 damage. So.
Shadow Raise, you mean?
Yes, I do mean Shadow Raise. Necromastery hits for level 1, 0 damage until you have 12 souls.
Right.
then it starts hurting a bit.
So he did actually land the raise?
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
like 75 damage on the Raze is not enough at this early point. At least at that point, he was poor Weaver, poor Raveflu was sitting around 125, and he finds the invis rune from TFG. TFG did decide to go jungling because
Yeah.
he did not feel safe in that offlane,
And
which
that
is,
makes
I
sense.
think, yeah, the best option because Chaos Knight don't care if you're running so fast. He's just going to pull you out of position anyways.
Right. Once you get some levels, it's an option to sort of come back and start doing that. But for now, he's just going to stay up in this jungle and rejoin the solo lane when he gets a little more leveled. Raveflu, meanwhile, just hanging around here with the Invis rune. Unfortunately, he has next to no XP on the board at all, just because he was harassed so effectively out of lane immediately when he came there. And that's unfortunate. I mean, he's level 1. Darkseer, meanwhile, climbing already to level 3, so TFG is going to be substantially ahead of Raveflu, at least early. You see Raveflu just doing the bounty hunter thing right now, trying to steal out some of those jungle last hits. And MUFC immediately respond to this. They start moving people over just to sort of be like, hey, stop stealing our our farm beats or what have you, Weaver.
Yeah, the last hitting coming out of Shadow Fiend as well as Chaos Knight is pretty phenomenal right now. Both are doing really well, 19-2, 17 and 11, 17 and 12. This is a lot of denies, actually.
Yeah. Not that it really matters because, of course, Raveflu isn't even in this lane, but it is good lane management. Like, it'll keep it fairly closer to their tower so that Raveflu isn't able to sort of safely find any farm. But meanwhile, of course, in the bottom, DM2 are kind of pushing this towards the tower. It's going to start doing a little bit of structural damage to this sooner or later. They have to stop taking massive tower hits, though. Both Io and Rubik got copping some unnecessary tower harass. Actually, like, a lot of tower harass. But here we go. They're moving onto the tower, dealing quite a bit of damage to Raveflu. Tries to walk up again. The Sentry Ward is actually down, but I believe MUFC are holding on to another one. Yeah, Ling still has another Sentry Ward, so Raveflu still going to have to play very carefully while the rest of his team tries to bring down this bottom tier 1 tower, and it actually looks like they may get it pretty soon. It's at about 2. Yeah, I think they have it. So a pretty clean, pretty quick tower for them at 4 minutes, and that'll add a little gold onto their totals. Nice, kind of jerk fortify there. It's just at 17 HP, and Ken does. He actually misses the last hit, but that's gold for their entire team, and Chaos Knight getting pretty close to his tier 2 boots if he so desires.
Honestly, with this level of farm, like, I don't know, and I really just rushed that armlet.
They could.
Especially because you do have that nice movement speed increase coming out of KS's Wisp.
Sure.
So, actually, yeah, with the tether, he actually moves faster than Wisp still, just because Boot's movement speed isn't multiplied by the tether.
Right.
So,
okay, so he did get tier 2 boots. He's not actually going directly for that armlet. It looks like he'll pick up drums first, and drums an excellent item. It's good for that sort of mobile ganking style that you want. Armlet is good too, but really Armlet doesn't reveal its full benefit for Chaos Knight until after Phantasm. And level 1 Phantasm is not that worth training at 6 anyway. So I don't think going directly for Armlet would have been that wise for him. Instead, he just do what he would always do, but faster. Because the earlier you can start, especially considering that they've seeded the free lane to Shadow Fiend, the earlier you can start sort of jumping on that guy with your IO Chaos Knight combo, the better you'll feel.
yeah, one of the big problems for a Shadow Fiend is that he is one
Ooh,
squishy
this might be
hero.
the first blood. YY taking a ton of damage on this Magnus. Good stun came out from Chibi X there. They just need a little more mana. He is using his bottle. He's got the mana for one more Impale. Doesn't matter. We get a rotation from Lodrak. He picks up the first blood with Fade Bolt on the Rubik.
Yeah, that is going to be Arcane Boots up on Chibi, so
Yep.
that's a big item.
Definitely.
Should have dropped his magic stick before activating the boots, but not that big of a deal. Hey, he does find an invis rune though, so lucky Chibi.
That's actually excellent. He has an assist. He participated in that first blood. Obviously finished off his Arcane Boots, I think substantially before YY has them. Yeah, YY has no Arcane Boots at all, so definitely an advantage in the middle lane curried there. Good opportunity to get the first blood. Rotating the supports over, very, very smart. Obviously, Ken doesn't need that much help here just yet. Although it does look like MUFC may start delegating some resources. Even just Ling alone will prevent this tier 2 tower from dropping for some length of time unless the supports rotate back over to kill him. Yeah, we do see him dropping these like bowling balls down the hallway just to clear out the creep waves a little bit.
We are seeing sort of the weakness in MUFC's lineup. The problem is they don't have the strongest early game, just because Shadow Fiend really takes some time to get rolling. But they don't
Right.
exactly have the strongest late game either, because Shadow Fiend doesn't stay rolling for very long. Which is kind of the problem.
I mean, they have more of a late game until... The thing is, Wraith Blue is not going to get that big on Weaver for a very long time.
Yeah,
Given just how he started, given the fact that right now Ken is first farm priority, he's just not going to become that significant until very late. So I think there actually will be a long period of time, provided they have a good start for Ari's Shadow Fiend, which so far, I mean, 53 last hits. He's been doing very, very excellently. Oh my goodness, sorry. I actually missed good gank from Chibi there again. Finding out the kills, managing to get the pick off there on TFG.
Yeah, TFG is not going to be happy about that. It's not like TFG is an easy gank target for Nyx either, because even though, you know, he is a Intiro Darkseer, he is a tanky Intiro with that 6 armor and almost 800 health without any tier 2 boots. Or treads. Not that you usually build treads on Darkseer, but you know.
Right. Chaos and Lodraki here just trying to clear out the jungle a little bit, get those levels. They're actually level 4 on the Wisp and level 5 on the Rubik, which is not bad. Actually parity or slightly below parity with the supports of Dire. TFG, meanwhile, tries to come in here. The actually Reality Rift will miss, so they don't bring him back in. Winter TP's over, and Link's coming as well, so a pseudo tri-lane formed here to act as sort of a retaining wall. Ken is tethered up. They do have the spirits out on Chaos as well. It looks like they may want to make something happen, but there's 3 people back here from MUFC. I'm not sure how wise of an idea going into this would be. We do see Chaos rushing up that urn. Gets you a little bit of mana regen, plus the healing effect is very, very good for Wisp. She can heal the person that she's tethered to, which of course heals herself. Sorry, she can heal herself, which heals the person she's tethered to as well. I'm really sorry, folks. It was 5 a.m. when I got up, and I was awake, but then we had the delay, and now I'm like half asleep again. I do apologize for missing the kill, and the stupid thing I almost just said before I corrected myself.
Ari is rushing a Shadow Blade.
Sure. Great Shadow Fiend item.
I don't know. I've always been a fan of the Blink Dagger Shadow Fiend, just because I feel it's a better mobility item. There's a reason why it was popular for ages.
Sure, but I don't know. I feel Shadow Blade's going to be
Vigos?
very good for them as well. It'll give them good, not as perfect initiation, but here's the thing. Shadow Fiend isn't their initiator. It's Magnus. And if Magnus lands RP, Shadow Blade is more than good enough to get the Shadow Fiend where he needs to be. Plus the damage on it is just vastly better than the nothing that Blink Dagger gives you other than Blink.
I don't know, because as an escape mechanism, I feel like Shadow Blades are pretty awful, just because Invis is a pretty easy thing to account for. Sadly, well, it's not sadly. Very good thing about MUFC, though, is that they aren't really revealing their hand with the Shadow Amulet. They're actually just keeping it in the stash until it's finished, which is the way to do it.
Chibi comes in here to defend, but he could be... Oh, no! YY misses the RP! And while this is a tier 1 tower, they probably were hoping for more with that first usage of the huge Magnus ultimate. And here come the cavalry for DM2. Rave Blue is coming in. They're going to try to get a kill. Good stun thrown out by Winter, and they will retreat from this. But MUFC... they actually don't find the tower kill. It does end up being denied, so excellent timing from Lodrak and Rave Blue to come in there, actually warding MUFC off, even without the kill. That was pretty useful for them.
Yeah, I feel like everyone at MUFC thought that someone else was going to be getting the last hit on that tower. And so they all backed off, thinking that, you know, it's like when you're playing baseball, like 3 people run to the same thing, and they all know it, so they all stop so that someone else can get it.
Right.
I feel like MUFC just had that moment.
Quite possibly. I mean, yeah, definitely. And they end up, actually, that cost them substantially. But the nice thing here is that, once again, Ari is getting fantastic farm on the Shadow Fiend. He's now up to about 87 last hits. The Shadow Blade is free and clear. He's going to go back to Fountain to pick it up and regen mana. And this Shadow Fiend's getting a little scary. I mean, he's level 9. Only a Chibi on the map has parity with him. They just hit level 6 on KS, so maybe some relocates could start coming out. And they're going to have to, because they're going to need to start putting kills on the board up against the Shadow Fiend. And the Shadow Blade has made it just that much harder. They now need to spend money on the Dust. They need to always have detection for him when they come to try to gank him. And that's going to make this a little more difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to make it more difficult. That said, I still want to know what the circle is going to be built into. You generally don't pick up a casual circle just because of how cost-ineffective the item is.
They go up on TFG, but they go the wrong way. They might find out Ling, but it looks like Roshan might pick him up. No, the Chaos Bolt will get the kill.
No,
not that important of a kill. And Ari, meanwhile, at the top, chasing. There's the telekinesis. He's lifted up. He actually gets put into Magnus, so... MUFC, they pick up a tower once again, but again, they can't find the kill.
That was actually a Wisp Spirit that got the kill, which is the funniest part.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah, Chaos got the kill with the Wisp Spirit. He does have an urn, so it does suggest that Arcane Boots is going to be Chaos's tier 2 boots of choice if he ever gets it.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Personally, I prefer Soul Ring Tranquils, but I feel it's a little bit cheaper, and... I don't know, the on-demand mana from Soul Ring, I think, is a little bit more reliable than the Urn. Also, max health means no health regen anyway, so...
Sure.
Just a couple of advantages, but that said, it's not a bad build, and we're... Was that an Ogre Club just casually picked up?
By whom?
Yeah, Ken, like, started his armlet with the Helm of the Iron Will, started his drums with the Bracer, and just picks up an Ogre Club, so he's, like, building strength items. Lots of them.
So just massive survivability. And I don't know, I do think that he's probably going to finish... He's got to decide which of these 3 items he wants to finish, right? Because there's the option of the armlet, there's the option of the drums, and there's the option of the BKB. I really feel like more offensive potential would do them a lot of good. But then again, I mean, we're talking about a team that has the Stormbolt from the Sven, a lot of the stuff Shadow Fiend can do to you, and Magnus. Maybe BKB would be wise.
BKB would be a strong defensive item. The problem is it literally stops one ability from stunning you on MUFC's lineup.
Sure.
Not that there is many stuns on MUFC's lineup as it is, but it only stops the Stormbolt. So
it's a lot of damage that it stops, though.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage that it stops, namely the RP damage, the shockwave damage, all the raise damage.
Requiem, Illuminate, Stormbolt, Vacuum, Wall.
Oh, Big Smoke.
Alright, yeah. So MUFC, they're starting to feel confident. Ari doesn't have his BKB yet. He is about a little less than halfway, so about a third of the way there. And they may use this to Roshan. They've been controlling the vision around this Roshan pit for minutes and minutes and minutes. They've been always counter-warding, clearing out any vision that DM2 might have for this. And I think that April Fool's Day, DM2, they might not have any idea that this Roshan is happening. And it's going to drop quite quickly as they're putting in all of their resources. No response from the Singaporean boys. It does look like it's going to probably drop, and they're going to put this on the Shadow Fiend. Ari's cleared up one little slot for it, and YY is going to have to pop his head out of this Roshan pit because he's just taking massive damage. They're all still fairly low levels. This Rosh wasn't the easiest thing in the world, but this will be very useful for their development. They Warcry to get out of there, the Aegis up on Shadow Fiend, and that gives them some good XP and gold as well.
Yeah, phenomenal XP. Actually, the amount of XP Roche gives is pretty ridiculous. It's like, it can get like a solo kill like 2 levels straight out, and with a full team, most of your supports are going to really appreciate that, which is the important thing.
Right.
That said, we could see something less strange, more strange than a BKB on Ari, something like stacking armor reduction with that Desolator. I think it's not likely, but it's an option.
Sure, that's true. He could rotate that into a Dezo. I do think that the BKB is a little more likely. Very common Shadow Fiend item, of course. And, oh my goodness, I'm really sorry. I missed a kill on Magnus actually. We do have a relocate, so they're going to keep going. Ling is in a lot of trouble here. They do get the kill, and this is exactly what DM2 want to be doing at this point. Their window, it's not closing yet, but they need to continue to make things happen. Whenever you have relocate, whenever you have IO, you always want to be generating things around the map. And that is what they're doing now. That is what they've begun to sort of do. And 5-0 the lead. But even though they have a substantial kill lead, until those kills, they were actually a little bit behind on gold and roughly at XP parity or a little behind on XP after the Roshan. Let's note, Chibi is becoming a ganking monster. He's got his Blink Dagger, he has Gem of True Sight, so they can see stealth and they can sort of initiate with Blink. So both of those very, very useful for these guys. TFG and Ken just having a stare down here. They decide not to pursue this, but here comes Ari and Winter. This could be MUFC's first kills on the board, or maybe a tower. We do have a TP over, so someone will join the fray. It does look like it's going to be Shaolin Kid Lodraki on this Rubik. And will this be enough to tip the scales? We do see YY finally finding his Blink Dagger. Substantially after where Chibi had it. Here comes YY. There's the RP. Ken, he's going to back up a little bit. There's the left telekinesis. They're going to try to bring out YY, but there's the vacuum. And there's the Requiem of Souls. 2 kills already. 3. Triple kill, actually no, a double kill for Shadowfiend. The other kill was just from a creep. But MUFC put themselves on the board, and how?
Phenomenal play. Basically what they were hoping to do there, and this is something I can't believe I missed in the draft, was that they were hoping to just kind of wombo combo big time with the Sven 2-second stun with the reverse polarity stun, basically. And vacuum. So what ended up happening was there was a little bit of mistiming because Winter was a little bit too far out to land the Storm Bolt, but then a phenomenal vacuum from TFG ended up securing that 3-man stun from Winter, and it just led to a massive kill streak for our dear Ari.
In an instant, they killed 3. And that's really why I think that this BKB, yes, we do see Ken moving towards this BKB, which is very smart. Actually, a pickoff. Oh no! Are they going to lose the Shadow Fiend? There is Gem up. He's so low. Yes! The Aegis is gone. Very nice Aegis pickup there. Rachel is actually there for that, interestingly. He's got his casual vitality booster that you see so often on Weaver. MUFC rotating to respond, but their tactical response team might not be quick enough to actually prevent DM2 from at least grouping up as 5. I think they feel okay about this because, of course, still about 33 seconds left on that RP. Might give DM2 enough time to actually pick off this tower. But MUFC aren't going to let them have it so easily. The Shadow Fiend BKB is done. Chaos Knight's still about 600 gold off. And actually, KS on this IO isn't actually near here either. So it does look like they won't pursue that tier 1. MUFC does defend. They did lose the Aegis, but still 0 deaths on Ari. Level 12 Shadow Fiend with his BKB complete. And MUFC have to feel like they're in okay shape so far.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. It's still inconvenient. They lost the current, and that's a lot of gold. That's basically the Roshan disappearing. That Roshan gold advantage just vanishing before MUFC's eyes with that courier kill. But, I don't know. Regardless, what's really going to change the game is what Ari goes for next. He could go for an AC or a Desolator. I think AC is going to be a little bit better against Chaos Knight. You don't want to get wrecked by his auto-attacking damage. And it also increases his armor reduction to a glorious 11 in aura form. So, other options, of course, building up some more tank-like heart.
Oh, stun coming out from Chibi. Will they actually pursue this? The lift up. They get the chain. Here comes Relocate. An immediate RP response, interesting enough. But Ken's BKB just finished. That's why he felt comfortable coming in. But Rubik hits the ground. They're doing damage to FYFY. 4-second stun. It's 1 for 1 so far, but not that significant kills just yet. Maybe on the Magnus. Chibi, he's trying to chase. He still has Blink Dagger. Ari's Shadow Blading away. He will not catch up to the Shadow Fiend. They do get a kill in the backcourt on Ling. A stun, double impale, and actually Ari has taken a lot of damage. Will Wraith Plume end this? The blink comes out, and yes, Shadow Fiend hits the ground. Winter taking a lot of damage as well. Wraith Plume might just pursue him into the base. Winter, the last person alive for MFC, and the final kill, time-lapse to get out. And that's 5 kills for DM2 in response to maybe 1. Yeah, 5 for 1 trade. That BKB on Chaos Knight made all the difference there.
5 for 0. They didn't lose anybody.
No, they did. They lost Lodraki on the Rubik.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh man, he respawned quickly.
He's level 8. I mean, he was level like 6 when that started.
Yeah, but that's a phenomenal set for DM2. They are very happy with that trade, and that's honestly going to lead to probably a tower. And again, the biggest part about that, well, yeah, there's the top tower, maybe the mid tower as well, but the biggest thing about that was that they got the kill on Shadow Fiend. And that means Shadow Fiend now needs to spend a little bit of time in the jungle to get his souls back up.
Right. Shadow Fiend, he does have that reverse snowballing effect where once he dies, ooh, they've been good, MUFC, about putting these sentry wards down. Unfortunately, you can't sentry the entire map. That's one of the annoying things about Nyx Assassin. In addition to being as strong as he is, you also have to sort of take countermeasures against his stealth. They might get Ken here. The fishing, not successful. The skewer doesn't land, and Ken's going to walk away from this no problem with still his BKB only down to 9 charges. So more or less intact, and that BKB hit. They were very smart to actually not go into that big fight until the BKB hit, and then the moment it did, they immediately tried to make something happen. Chibi is going to have to run away here. Do they have Gem? No, they have a Sentry Ward up on Winter, and a Blink up on, of course, YY. but Wraithplu just walking away a little bit. They do have 2 stealthers, so both of these guys are potentially vulnerable to the sentry wards. Weaver and Nyx Assassin. Chibi, meanwhile, he wants TFG, and I don't know that they can actually get TFG. He's going to surge on out of there. And MUFC, they are rotating to their tier 1 mid, where, of course, a small little siege is developing. We do see Ken and Chaos moving towards... Will they get this kill on Ari? So they saw him briefly, but they have to guess which camp he's at. It doesn't look like they will, so this Shadow Fiend will walk away from this.
Yeah, Shadow Fiend does finally manage to get all of his souls back, so good for Ari. On a bad news, that's still a huge delaying measure, and he can't even get close to some of these lanes because that means he's going to get picked off immediately.
I really think Chibi is developing as like a really... He wasn't taken tremendously seriously in the Dota scene, I feel like, for a while. But he's really developing as a very, very strong mid, especially in these games that we've seen AFD play. I mean, he's 3-0-4 here. Very good game sense. He hasn't suicided or gone the wrong way. Oh, man! Will he really go for this? Ari hanging out in the trees here. No, he's not. He's just going to TP out. It seemed for a second like he was considering. Oh, we get the relocate. TFG in a lot of trouble. He might drop instantly here. We do see the Keeper of the Light, Blinding Light. This will save him for a second. Oh, Magnus. 3 RP. KS will drop pretty quickly. There's the telekinesis. He's actually still alive. Illuminate will pick him off. Ken has popped his BKB. A 4-second stun on YY, but he's already picked off Lodraki as well. YY just one more hit. Wraithplu will get the kill. 2 for 2 so far. Ling in a little bit of trouble. Wraithplu going to keep chasing him, but there's the Requiem of Souls. Enough to not get the Weaver because he time lapses away, and 3 for 2 so far. However, Ken did have to use his BKB charge for that. But still, I still feel like DM2 are getting the better of these engagements. They've had good relocates from the IO each time, and this has just done so much more than the last time that they actually piloted that IO in. And unfortunately, even with his amazing early farm, Ari just hasn't really been able to blow out DM2, except for that one particular fight.
This is really the biggest problem with Shadow Fiend. His really only major scaling mechanic is the fact that he has armor reduction, and that's like okay, it's decent. The Necromaster is just straight damage though, and straight damage has a tendency of falling off pretty dramatically as you approach the mid to late game.
Not yet. It's still pretty substantial right now.
Not quite yet, but when you look at Ken, right, and Ken doesn't have the 72 damage that Ari will get, right? So Ari is hitting for about a little over 200 damage, where Ken is only hitting for, what, 150? Yeah, 150.
Right.
With the armlet, he's actually now hitting for the... Actually, like, yeah, 200 damage. Not 200 damage. 30, 50... No, sorry. Yeah, about 200 more damage. So he's actually on par with Shadow Fiend's damage with literally no other items besides his armlet.
Sure. But
Whereas
I mean...
Ari has that Shadow Blade. And even with that first strike, he's not nearly as tanky. Doesn't have as much armor, doesn't have as much health.
Sure.
It's actually very easy for Ken to get these 1v1 engagements. The problem is Shadow Fiend is a mid-game hero, except he is out mid-game by a Chaos Knight.
In some respect. I mean, so far, I still feel like MUFC, if they just find their combo a little more often, will win these fights. I mean, the Shadow Fiend is not there solely to just be a right-click carry. He's there because, in concert with their other positioning and stunning tools, they can get a big Requiem of Souls and then follow it up with those right-clicks.
I don't know. I still have that joke of my pub stack that I play with sometimes, where it's like Shadow Fiend uses ulti. And we say that because the impact that a Shadow Fiend ulti has from time to time has proven to be underwhelming. We even saw that a Weaver nearly stacked up on Shadow Fiend with a level 2 ult, barely felt and just time-lapsed and ran away. Like, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, alright. So we do see MUFC. They're going for the Roshan, but there is going to be quite a bit of disruption. Ken coming in here, already BKB'd, so is Ari. The vacuum comes, but where is that big RP from YY? That's not what they wanted at all. Shadow Fiend already down, but they've actually picked off 3, so a lot of damage thrown out from MUFC there. Just the stuns and everything else was enough. There is a great skewer from YY, taking it to the low ground, but the stun here probably will pick him off. He's building towards BKB as well, so we just see BKBs everywhere. Wraithplu taking a lot of damage. He time lapses, probably will run away from this. And basically 3 for 3 there, but the question is, who will get the spoils of war? Who will pick up Roshan? Roshan at about 3k gold. We do see a buyback from Ari, so it looks like they definitely want this Roshan themselves. TFG jumping in, 2-second stun. This might actually have been a huge mistake. He might might get picked off. He does. They lose the Darkseer so quickly. Ken out of mana completely. Ling getting picked on by Wraith Blue. But there's a lot of damage getting thrown on from Ahri here. Wraith Blue will have to disengage. They don't have protection for him. The Rays won't catch it either. They've got a sentry on the high ground. But Wraith Blue is out of here. Ling, he gets caught in the Roche pit. Ken just going to pick him off. And MUFC just in a little bit of disarray here, frankly. They just don't know where to go. A Gem of True Sight still on the ground. Did somebody pick it up? No, actually. So, Gem still in the Roche pit. We do see Chaos finally take it. MUFC, they only have 3, and it looks like DM2 actually have 5 people up. They're ready to fight again. Ken, he's back up to full mana. KS, he's holding the gem. FCFC, wow, what a good skewer there on Lodraki. YY back on the low ground. 3 seconds stun. Ken will dispense of him. Winter pops off the Stormhammer, but he might get picked off as well. They're just getting caught out. The positioning is not where they need it to be. And Ahri doesn't feel confident, and that's exactly why. He gets stunned down. Good back wall combo, but these elements are just not coming together for MUFC. They're just popping 1 or 2 things at the same time. Relocate into the fountain to heal up Chaos Knight and Wisp. They'll be back in about 10 seconds. TFG trying to fend off these Weaver illusions right now. Wraith Blue, of course, having finished his Manta style. And just the pressure, it just keeps coming. TFG, he's about to get a Chaos Bolt. 4 seconds. That's a dead Darkseer. And, oh man, DM2 are just continuing this fight. Ling up at tier 3. Jesus. Unstoppable damage coming out from DM2. So much. And that will probably be the Roshan as well.
How many kills was that? That seemed like it was at least 8 from on MUFC, because like TFG ran back, Ling ran back, Winter ran back, YY ran back. Ahri only died once in that fight, but he still died. That was a lot of kills from DM2. That was a really good fight for them, and not only that, they stole Roche, which is why they win in the first place.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, DM2 really putting together a good fight there, and that honestly may have sealed it. Like, that takes them up from about, honestly, it was pretty close to parity when that began, and now they move from 4,000 XP ahead to about 14,000, and from about even on gold to substantially ahead there as well. And this has secured a Chaos Knight advantage in net worth as well, obviously. He has his armlet, holding an Aegis, still has that BKB, although it's down to 6 seconds already, just because the fights have come fast and furious since that BKB got added. In fact, the first fight afterwards was about 5-ish seconds after the BKB was delivered to him. And so now, I mean, he's just very, very formidable. 5,000 gold. If he wanted heart, he could probably have it. We'll see what he ends up going with.
He actually used the BKB twice in that Latin engagement.
He has a gem. There's the stun. Ahri taking a... Oh my god, that's a lot of damage. He might just get picked off. Yes! This Shadow Fiend can't feel good about his situation now. Nyx Assassin soloing him down. Just the gold from sticking through that fight is given a Dagon 2 in addition to the stack of everything else. How many gems do they have? One on the Nyx Assassin, and then...
Two. One in the bank.
One sitting in the fountain. So 2 gems. They have MUFC's gem, and they have their own. Very, very good play from April Fool's Day in this first game.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal play coming out of DM2. I did like their draft a little bit better, just because I don't really like Shadow Fiend, but you know that's my personal bias right there. How successful has Shadow Fiend been in this tournament? I don't feel it was very. He's had a lot of good games so far.
Honestly, we haven't seen Shadow Fiend very much in this tournament.
Yeah, it was like twice maybe, counting this one.
I think he's 1-1.
Yeah, I don't know, but
I don't think the Shadow Fiend was necessarily that bad of a choice. It's just they clearly went for a teamfight combination lineup, and what we saw in that last teamfight is MUFC just can't actually find the combination. The RP and the Stormhammer are critical elements of it, and the Stormhammers are landing, but just not really in concert with any of the other spells, and RPs are just... Only one has really been all that consequential.
Well, that is a heart up on Chaos Knight,
yep.
So...
A lot of survivability, great stats. He does have level 3 Phantasm now is the thing. CK, level 19, 3-level lead on Princess Ahri on the Shadow Fiend. So that's going to be very formidable illusions that have a lot of health. They will all have the armlet benefit, and they can just, anybody that doesn't have a BKB will just get picked off. TFG, there's the Reality Rift and the 2-second stun. They just hop onto the high ground here and rule the roost. We do see the Phantasm, so here we go. They're going to start attacking this tier 3, sieging this high ground position. And so far, MUFC just don't seem to have a response to this at all. Good spread from Despicable Me 2 here, making sure that 1 RP or 1 vacuum will not have the easiest time picking them up. And the Chaos Knight illusions are just going to town. This is like 3 AM, but it's 4 CK, and it's really, really going well for them. There's the set of racks. 1 set of racks down for MUFC, 32 minutes. Alright, he's actually not that high health. There's the stun. There's the RP. There's the Requiem of Souls. 2 down immediately. Ken has his BKB, but pretty good fight for MUFC so far. Unfortunately, this Chaos Knight just does incredible damage. Magnus already down. Link Cops the 3-second stun. There's the Aegis, actually, so doing okay against him so far. They're going to have to pick through another life for this Chaos Knight, however. The mana burn will go out. Sorry, the mana leak. Ken's still running out, even with the mana leak on him. He's still got enough mana to probably be okay. They're trying to chase. Wraith Blue's back here. Lodrak is back here. The Blinding Light immediately blinded them. The Stolen RP! Oh no, Ken, even with low health, maybe he can make this happen. No, he's actually dying. He's at very low health. He's armlet toggling the life out of him. TFG and Winter also not feeling that great. And Ken, he's actually alive. So is Wraith Blue. They've made it out of this okay. And in all the chaos, Ari dropped as well. So unfortunately, MUFC, they just barely defend their second set of racks, but they do not find the counter kills they were looking for.
Yeah, one of the big problems with that, honestly, I feel like if Ken saved his BKB for post-life, it would have been better. He might have been able to get a couple more kills. But ultimately, the fact that he still got away alive at all basically means huge win for DM2.
He's 7-1. I mean, this Chaos Knight has barely died. Frequently we see Chaos Knight sort of serve as the demi-initiator, where he dies a lot, but he sort of is able to bring a lot to the table. But this is a huge CK, man. He's got his Aegis. He's going to be making that in... Sorry, he's got his Yasha. He's going to make that into a Manta style. And Manta style, actually, I guess he could also go Sanjin Yasha, but I really do think this is going to be a Manta, because Ken's illusions are so formidable. They're so extremely effective with those high stats coming from the armlet, the heart, even the drums. I mean, these are going to be huge illusions, and he's going to have a lot of them. He can gib anybody that doesn't have a BKB now. Of course, Magnus the Shadow Fiend do, but a lot of other heroes, even TFG, who's got his Vanguard. Vanguard won't be enough to live against that Chaos Knight Illusion army.
Absolutely, and we're seeing that they're... DM2 are looking to end this. They're just starting to push in whatever they can, and they can do it very quickly, especially with Phantasm up. So, I'm concerned.
Oh, kick coming out. They're going to jump right on Shadow Fiend. Oh, he's gone. Gone in, I won't even say 60 seconds, more like 0.60 seconds. He just gets immediately rocked. The gem making that Shadow Blade so ineffective. And I mean, as you said, you highlighted early that the problem with Shadow Blade as an escape mechanism is that people can see you. Now, the issue, of course, here is that not only can people see you, but you can't see them, because frequently they're an invisible Nyx assassin.
Yeah, and that Dagon is really doing a lot of work, actually, for DM2. It's been actually enabling Chibi to get those early, very quick solo kills, and Jesus Christ.
There's a little bit of fountain farming going on here. Ken using those high HP illusions to tank the fountain as he just...
No, he's actually just tanking it himself.
Yeah.
Now his illusions are tanking it, and...
Ridiculous.
It's still ridiculous.
Oh, he's trying to kill the fountain. You can't do that in Dota 2, dude.
No, you can't. I remember seeing a video of a Legion commander soloing the fountain.
Yeah.
That's actually absurd.
Well, I mean, if they had been able to fight the fountain there, Ken would have had no problem, but you can't fight the fountain in Dota 2, which I think is a good mechanic because it's really quite not cool to be able to just farm the fountain. Chibi probably gonna die here, but no. They go down. MUFC will GG out of the first game, and DM2 taking a 1-0 lead. The IO pick actually being fairly effective for them. They have good relocates. MUFC only finds their teamfight combo once. It was effective that one time, but every other time, just overall stronger poise and composure coming out from this DM2 team, and they eventually just overwhelm this Shadow Fiend base composition with excellent Chaos Knight play from Ken, good sort of additional damage from Wraith Blue, and again, we gotta talk about Chibi X33, because this Nyx Assassin made no place safe to tread for Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't believe Ray Blue didn't die at all. That's what I'm still looking at.
Yep. Even
Yep.
on the very difficult lane, Shadow Weaver, he was able to just weave in and out, basically, and avoid dying that way. MUFC, they had good sentries, but Weaver was just never caught out by them. So just an excellent game overall for DM2, and we'll see what they have up their sleeves for Game 2, or if MUFC can actually take it back. Thanks, folks, for sticking with us. Next game starting in just a few minutes. We are going to try to keep them going fairly quickly since we had the late start. Sorry about the couple missed kills. Still waking up here, unfortunately. So, let's move on to Game 2.